Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm Corey Evan. Coming up in The Weekender. Suicide bombers in Yemen kill more than 100 people in attacks on, get this, mosques. A Colorado woman admits to cutting a fetus out of her would-be customer. The criminal mind never learns, as we learned this week in Crime and Pinheads. Donald Trump fires himself from NBC as he eyes the big White House job listing. And we look at some interesting finds as spring cleaning begins. Grab your broom and your brush. This Weekender is going to be a rush. And it starts now.
Making sense of the week's news and the most of your weekend. From Southern California, this is the SHR Weekender with Corey Evan.
Spring is here, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for joining me on this first day of spring for the Weekender. I am indeed Corey Evan, and this is indeed the first story of the week coming to us from the Dallas Morning News. Suicide bombers in Sana'a, Yemen attacked two mosques linked to Yemen's powerful Shiite rebels Friday in the country's capital, killing 137 worshippers and wounding hundreds more. The attacks were a further sign that Yemen, a key U.S. ally in the fight against al-Qaeda, is collapsing into sectarian chaos. A purported affiliate of the Islamic State claimed responsibility for the bombings, raising the possibility that the extremist group has expanded its presence to Yemen from its base in Syria and Iraq. The group has already established a branch in Libya, officials there say, and earlier this week it claimed responsibility for a deadly attack on Western tourists in Tunisia. If the claim is true, and the U.S. expressed skepticism, Friday's attacks would be the first by ISIS in Yemen, adding a chilling new layer to the country's turmoil. Shiite rebels known as Houthis have taken over the capital, Sana'a, and 9 of the country's 21 provinces over the past 6 months, raising fears of a sectarian civil war. The government of the internationally backed president, Abed Rabo Mansour Hadi, has fled from Sana'a to the southern port city of Aden. Yemen is already home to the most powerful branch of the al-Qaeda network, which has been battling the Houthis for months. On Friday, al-Qaeda militants seized control of a southern provincial capital, al-Houta, in the group's most dramatic grab of territory in years. However, it denied carrying out the mosque bombings, citing instructions from the terrorist network's leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri, not to strike mosques or markets. The blasts Friday left scenes of bloody devastation in the Badr and al-Hashush mosques, which are across town from each other. Both mosques are controlled by the Shiite Houthis, but they are also frequented by Sunni worshippers. In its claim of responsibility, an alleged ISIS affiliate calling itself Sana'a Province warned of an upcoming flood of attacks targeting the Houthi rebels. The statement was posted on the same web bulletin board where ISIS claimed responsibility for the deadly attack Wednesday on a museum in Tunisia. In Washington, White House spokesman Josh Earnest, aka the BS artist, said the U.S. has seen no indications of an operational link between ISIS and Friday's attacks. He said the U.S. was investigating to see whether the Islamic State branch in Yemen has the command and control structure in place to substantiate its claim of responsibility. Ernest said it was plausible that ISIS was falsely claiming responsibility. Plausible, Mr. Ernest? Give me a break! I mean, how dumb do you have to be? President Obama and his French counterpart Francois Hollande on Friday called for Iran to take steps to iron out differences with the major world powers for a nuclear framework deal, according to Xinhua news agency. In a conversation over the phone, the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to achieving a long-term comprehensive deal that fully and verifiably addresses the international community's concerns about Iran's nuclear program, the White House said in a statement. We take that with a grain of sand. It said the president agreed that Iran must take steps to resolve several remaining issues. Washington and its Western allies suspect Iran is seeking to develop nuclear weapons, while the Islamic Republic insists its nuclear program is solely for power generation and medical purposes. We don't buy that. Britain, France, Russia, the US, China, and Germany, the major powers comprising the so-called P5+1 group, have been negotiating with Iran toward a comprehensive deal ever since November 2013, when Tehran agreed to suspend some nuclear activities in return for eased sanctions under an interim deal. They're aiming for a framework deal by the end of this month and a comprehensive one at the end of June. They're aiming for a framework deal by the end of the month and a comprehensive one by the end of June and are scheduled to resume their talks next week after suspending the latest round held in the Swiss city of Lausanne on Friday for Iranians to celebrate Nowruz, or the Persian New Year. This next one comes to us out of India, believe it or not. As shocking visuals of large-scale copying by students during state board matriculation exams in Bihar emerged, 760 students have been expelled over the mass cheating racket. 8 policemen have been arrested for aiding students in cheating. Visuals showed parents and helpers scaling 3- to 4-story exam centers to pass on cheats to their wards. The Patna High Court has also pulled up the state education minister P.K. Sahi for saying the government alone cannot ensure 100% cheating-free examinations of this large magnitude, and that the onus falls on parents. The board's special examination cell also said 7 parents have been arrested for supplying cheats to their wards at Rohtas and Siwan in the past 2 days. A total of 1.4 million students were appearing for the exams at 1,200 centers in the state. Sahi also admitted that cheating in exams was prevalent, particularly in the rural areas. He appealed to parents to ponder, asking, quote, "Will scoring marks by this way shape the future of their wards?" Sahi said the state government has asked Chief Secretary Anjani Kumar Singh and Police Chief P.K. Thakur to further tighten arrangements at examination centers. I never thought that I'd see the day when this sort of cheating arrangement would happen by having cheats scale up the side of the wall. There should be guards outside the wall to at least discourage that sort of thing, just like, "Wait a minute, sir, you're gonna climb that wall? I don't think so. Go on, shoo. Get out of here." I mean, I may not be a big fan of big exams, but these are still kind of a big deal to a lot of people, so you gotta keep them secure somehow. Speaking of security, mothers are always looking for security for their kids, but unfortunately one mom in Colorado didn't find that for her little baby. A Colorado woman admitted that she cut an unborn child out of the womb of a stranger, and her husband told police he heard the fetus emit a gasping breath before it died, court documents showed on Friday. This from Reuters. Dynell Catrice Lane is being held on a $2 million bond on suspicion of attempted first-degree murder, assault, and child abuse resulting in death in the attack on Michelle Wilkins, who was 7 months pregnant. Miss Wilkins placed a 911 emergency call on Wednesday from a home in Longmont, about 30 miles north of Denver, to report being cut by a woman after she went there hoping to buy baby clothes she saw advertised on Craigslist, police said. At the home, officers found the 26-year-old Wilkins beaten, suffering from abdominal stab wounds, and slipping in and out of consciousness. She told them her attacker had removed her baby. Wilkins is in critical but stable condition after surgery at a local hospital, her family said in a statement. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Lane's husband, David Ridley, believed his wife was pregnant. A physician who examined the victim said the incision was well performed and that it had been done by someone who had researched cesarean births, the affidavit said, adding that the fetus would have been viable. Both prosecutors and Lane's public defender have said the autopsy findings will be the key to what she might face when she's formally charged, which prosecutors expect to happen next week, and I hope for their sakes they do, because this sort of thing is disgusting. To lie to your husband, ladies, about being pregnant and then to cut someone else's fetus out of them and claim that it's your own. I mean, if at first you don't succeed in getting pregnant, just tell your hubby that it didn't work and try it again. Or if it turns out you're not able to have a baby, there's always adoption. But cutting someone else's baby out of them 7 months in, forgive me, but these sort of things drive me to tirades. And I brought you this story yesterday on the Evan Miller Report, but it's worth repeating today because this is a pretty big settlement right here. ABC Los Angeles tells me a wrongful conviction case in Lake County, Illinois has settled at $20 million, and this is said to be the largest ever settlement of its kind in U.S. history, according to plaintiff Juan Rivera's attorneys. Rivera served almost 20 years for a rape and murder conviction that was reversed in January 2012 after DNA evidence led investigators to another suspect. The case, which involved the murder of 11-year-old Holly Staker in 1992, went to trial 3 times. It was reopened after Rivera's conviction was reversed. And it does prove that some people who are in jail for these sort of things probably shouldn't be there. I mean, obviously the ones who are linked to their cases by DNA should be there. But unless you have that link, you don't really have a leg to stand on, do you? And now, ladies and gentlemen, I our continuing battle against global socialism. A school in New York State has apologized after receiving complaints because of a student reciting the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance in Arabic. The school's foreign language department arranged for the pledge to be read in a different language each day for 1 week. Complaints were received from people who lost family in Afghanistan and from Jewish parents, an official said. Neither the U.S. nor New York State have an official language. The school district superintendent, Joan Carbone, told the Times-Herald-Record newspaper that the Arabic pledge had, quote, divided the school in half, unquote, and that she'd received numerous complaints. I bet you did. A statement from the district apologized to any students, staff, or community members who found this activity disrespectful and said the reading was intended to, quote, promote the fact that those who speak a language other than English still pledge to salute this great country. An Arabic-speaking student read the pledge during morning announcements at Pine Bush High School in Pine Bush, New York on Wednesday. Hopefully no relation to Jeb Bush. Officials said the school's foreign language department organized for different pledge translations to be read in celebration of National Foreign Language Week. Many students reportedly shouted their disapproval during the recitation and later complained on social media. Later in the afternoon, the school's principal made a school-wide announcement to explain why the pledge was read in Arabic and to apologize for those who took offense. Ms. Carbone said the pledge would only be read in English in the future. This from PC Mag. General Motors wants to help curb teen crashes with a new system that lets parents monitor their kids' driving habits, even when the parents aren't actually in the car. It's dubbed Teen Drive, and it's a new system that will debut in the 2016 Malibu, offering a bunch of features designed to encourage safe driving. Like, for instance, it'll mute the radio or any device paired with the car when front seat occupants aren't wearing their seatbelts, and it'll give audible and visual warnings when the vehicle is traveling faster than speed limits. Doesn't end there. Brace yourself, kids, because you might not like this next part too much. The new system also lets parents view a readout of how you drove the car, how fast you went, how far you drove, and whether any active safety features like overspeed warnings were engaged. Parents can also set your radio system's maximum volume level and select a maximum speed between 40 and 75, which, if exceeded, will trigger warnings. In its announcement, GM cited stats from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety indicating that the fatal crash rate per mile driven for 16 to 19-year-olds is nearly 3 times the rate for drivers aged 20 and over. The new tech will be available for the 2016 Malibu as a standard feature in the premium level and optional in the LT. The 2016 Malibu is going to debut at the New York Auto Show, and I bring that up so you know which vehicle to be weary of. And even though I love new cars just as much as the next guy, I'm a guy, the conversation's obviously gonna drift to cars every once in a while. But the thing is about this one, ladies and gentlemen, it's Big Brother in the back seat. So, what will Big Brother come up with to spy on us next? How much longer will we have to fend off terrorism on our home turf? And why hasn't anyone ever taken me on a hot air balloon ride? Stay tuned for developments in our continuing battle against global socialism. Right, it's time for me to take a break, but when I get back, another criminal posts his crime on social media. This is turning out to be quite the trend in crime and pandates. I have some interesting finds for you in spring cleaning, and in our game show News Minute, Donald Trump fires himself from NBC. Why? Don't worry, I'll explain it all after the break on the SHR Weekend. This is SHR Media, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't click away. The SHR Weekender will be right back.
I'm Jason Miller from the Evan Miller Report. Each weeknight, I take you around the world with the latest in world news and politics, not the least of which what's going on in good old Washington, D.C. In short, I'm telling you what the government doesn't want me to.
Join me, Corey Evan, and Jason Miller for the Evan Miller Report, weeknights at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on shrmedia.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
You're listening to the SHR Weekender on shrmedia.com. Once again, here's Corey.
I thank you as always, Sackhead Sean. And just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, he is on the Sackheads radio show every Wednesday night at 8 here on the SHR Media Network. But now back to the SHR Weekender, because it's time to find out who botched their crimes this week in Crime and Pinheads. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week where we find out who did something so stupid in committing their crimes that it was only a matter of time before we heard about it. First up from the news wheel, the internet is in many ways a wondrous invention. It allows us to keep in contact with far-off friends and family, alert us of breaking news as soon as it happens, including here on SHR Media, and answers vitally important questions such as which famous car you should drive. But the internet is also a curse, allowing stupid people to do stupid things in public. Although, come to think of it, reading about dumb people doing idiotic things is quite entertaining. The latest dumb criminal to hit the interwebs is Christopher Andrew Lee of Wharton, Texas. Lee decided to steal a car, an Infiniti SUV to be exact, and took off in it to do whatever needed doing. He then snapped a picture of the keys and posted them on Facebook along with his location, League City Health Clinic. Once police discovered the post, they were able to track Lee down at the health clinic and cuff him. Lee's now being held at the Galveston County Jail on a $60,000 bond. His charges: unauthorized use of a vehicle, and probably extreme stupidity. Hopefully he at least posted on Facebook to let his friends know where he was. Now, they say at any given time, all objects around you can be used as a weapon. While this appeals to the yet-to-be-released Mega Fighter bad boy side of me, I'd like to see someone defend themselves against a home intruder with a miniature stapler. Or maybe see someone take down an IHOP robber with some sugar-free butter pecan syrup. Perhaps the most ingenious weapon is one in disguise. Maybe even a weapon disguised as something completely non-threatening. I mean, this is what got a father arrested while visiting his son in jail. Convenient, eh? According to Huffington Post, he put his cane through a separate metal detector than the one through which he walked, and the detector beeped. An officer confiscated the cane and twisted off the top to reveal a sword. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wondering if they're gonna break out medieval knights inside of the jail, but that's just me. And in Australia, according to the Daily Mail, 2 men have been charged with a spate of offences after a failed break-in attempt on a motorbike shop was caught on CCTV early Monday morning. To make matters worse, one of the 5 offenders didn't think it was wise to cover his very recognizable face, giving police ample opportunity to track the man down. CCTV footage released by the store showed the cocky offenders' blatant disregard for the law as they approached the security camera and proceeded to give it the bird. One of the masked assailants cottoned on to the fact that his accomplice was being less than discreet and attempted to cover his face with his hood. His attempts were in vain as the camera had already captured a high-definition shot of the man. The would-be thieves then proceeded to reverse their truck into the shop's door repeatedly in the hopes it would gain them entry. It didn't. After several failed attempts, the men fled with their tails between their legs. No property was reported stolen, but police alleged there's substantial damage to the front and window of the building. 2 Munrumban men, aged 21 and 23, have been charged with a handful of offenses, and police say that they are hot on the trail of their accomplices. The 2 men will face court in late March and early April. Rightly deserved there, mates! Dumb criminals beware! I am watching you! And I'll see you next week in Crime and Pinheads. Not a bad Australian accent, eh there, mate? Never mind, it's time to find out what people have found as they did their spring cleaning across the country.
Spring cleaning. Our disinfecting prowess is second to none. Yay!
It's the first day of spring 2015, so I kind of figured it would be appropriate to go around the country and see what people have found in their spring cleaning attempts. Such as this first one from the Hartford Courant. A spring cleaning there led to the discovery of some cremated remains, and I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to the Courant for this one.
Oh my god. What am I going to do with this?
That was Carmen Zayas' reaction when she spotted a black box while clearing out this closet inside an old apartment since turned into office space.
It was in the corner. I reached for it, I took it down, and I placed it on this cabinet.
The box is sealed shut by this label. but it says that inside are the cremated remains, or cremains, of a woman named Taisha Flowers.
I feel like it was just kind of giving me a sign or something. I can't explain it. It was just...
Interesting find from the Hartford Courant. I never thought I would hear of that being discovered in someone's home, but I'm sure it happens from time to time. And I'll go ahead and post that up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SHR Weekender. Next up from the University of New Mexico, 1,000 gallons of organic sludge, a fishing pole, a bowling ball, a mannequin, shopping carts, 3 radios, 2 chairs, and a host of other items are typically found in the duck pond during its routine spring break cleaning every other year. Cleaning a pond this size is no easy feat, taking over 400 hours of labor to complete. The physical plant department is responsible for its care and upkeep and do everything they can to ensure the health and safety of all inhabitants of the pond during the cleaning process. The PPD Grounds and Landscaping Division cleans the pond every other year, first by drawing the water out of the pond. Once they lower the levels, PPD staff capture and relocate the pond's aquatic animals to holding tanks provided by the biology department at Cassiter Hall. These oxygenated tanks also allow fish, turtles, and other animals to be housed with reduced stress, and the biology staff monitor the health of the animals alongside a university veterinarian. So while I'm no environmentalist by any means necessary, it does make me happy to know that every other year they get down there and get into the nitty-gritty and find out exactly what's down there that's clogging all the water recirculation tanks. And besides, I just love feeding ducks. And finally, from WDIV Detroit, most of it is trash, but some valuable items were missing for weeks under the snow and ice.
Along with a lot of grass, there's also quite a bit of unburied treasure out there being revealed by the snowmelt, huh?
Exactly right. Sean Lay is live with a look at what's turning up, and Sean, it is not all good.
No.
We're along Gratiot here, right by I-94. The snow melts, revealing stuff like this. Here's part of a fender, here's part of an undercarriage of a car, and then up against this fence near the highway, just a long line of litter. But listen, it's not just here. The litter is everywhere, and since the snow melted, it's not just trash that's being revealed. Spring has sprung, the grass has riz, and you can see where the litter is.
Trash piles up, the dirt gets all over the place.
From the city to the suburbs, melting snow revealing all kinds of things. Jamie Henson is mainly seeing this.
A lot of beer bottles, and the little liquor bottles, chicken bones, all types of stuff like that.
Here in Troy, the Public Works Department is likely wondering where its sign went. In Royal Oak, a load of shingles has now been revealed along I-75 and 11 Mile Road. We asked our local 4 viewers to tell us what they're finding now that the snow is gone. Most are finding what dogs have left behind. One viewer saying, neighbor's dog stuff, which I lobbed onto their porch.
Yeah.
Others are finding things they probably thought were long gone. Jenny writing, my son's new shoe, which had been on his foot when we went outside. Ashley telling us, my cousin found her husband's lost wedding ring. Meantime, about all this litter all over the place. Detroit says it has crews that do spring cleaning. MDOT says they too will have crews out to pick up the highway.
Obviously, the Public Works Department in Detroit will get to as much as they can, but I doubt they'll be able to get to everything since, as you know, Detroit is broke and barely recovering from bankruptcy. But it does my heart some good to know that they are working on it a little bit at a time. And to find those missing shoes and that wedding ring, that's a good find right there. Just like a load lifted off their shoulders. Whew. And that's why spring cleaning is such a good idea, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, after the show today, I'm going to get mine done. It can hardly wait. Right, after the break, I've got Donald Trump firing himself from NBC in our Game Show News Minute, and this week's Tip of the Week involves spring break price breaks if you're going to the theme parks. That's all coming up after the break.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
you got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
I'm Corey Evan, the Game Show Geek. It's the first day of spring, and it's time to do some spring cleaning at the Game Show News Minute. While many viewed the speculation about his next career move as a mere publicity stunt, the New Hampshire union leader reports that Donald Trump has decided to take the plunge. He will not be renewing his contract with NBC for The Apprentice. Trump will launch a presidential exploratory committee Wednesday, the New Hampshire union leader's Dan Tuohy reports. Fremantle Media North America on Thursday appointed Ron Garfield as Executive VP and General Manager of Buzzer TV. The digital multicast network, announced in January and set to launch this summer in all 17 Fox O&O markets, will tap into the company's vast portfolio of more than 40,000 hours of game shows, including Family Feud, Let's Make a Deal, To Tell the Truth, Password, Woohoo! Match Game, yeah! Card Sharks! GSN, you should be quaking in your boots. Speaking of GSN, they announced Friday its new original game show series, Lie Detectors, hosted by Australian TV talk show icon Rove McManus. The show premieres Monday, April 20th at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, a prime opportunity to be part of a studio audience that helps each other figure out who's telling the truth and who's telling a bold-faced lie. And that's no lie, ladies and gentlemen, it's right here on my copy. But truthfully, that's the end of your Game Show News Minute for this week. I'm Corey Evan. Have a great day. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the truth will set you free. And here's the truth about taking your family to the theme parks. Right now is actually a better opportunity than during the summer, because even though the kids are off for summer vacation during the summer, obviously, unless they're on a year-round schedule, during the summer, prices tend to be higher than spring and fall. And since it's spring right now, you can even find coupons for this, but generally, theme parks have lower prices during the spring, so if you're planning a trip to Knott's Berry Farm or Six Flags or whatever you have near your home, you may want to snatch up the opportunity now, because if you wait until summer, not only are the lines going to be longer, it'll turn your paychecks into pennies. And another thing, if you're going to take your family to the theme park, you may want to have breakfast with them off-site before you actually get to the theme park, the morning of. Make pancakes. Go to the McDonald's around the corner. Something. But you will obviously pay a lot more for breakfast if you wait until you get to the park. And besides, if you have breakfast before you get to the park, it'll give your belly a little chance to digest it all so you don't throw up the first time on a roller coaster. Just saying. Right, that's what I've got for you this week on the SHR Weekender. I thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me on Facebook.com/SHR Weekender and tweet the SHR Media News Desk at SHR News Desk. For all of us here at SHR Media, I'm Corey Evan, thanking you for listening. Make it a great weekend or not. The choice is yours.
Thanks for listening to the SHR Weekender. For more information on today's program, go to shrmedia.com. Be sure to tune in next weekend.